So I'm going to answer the infamous question, is web design dead? And I'm going to go ahead and give you the answer. So the short answer is yes, it is. And the long answer is no, it's not. And I know you're probably thinking, what the hell is this guy talking about, right? That's a contradiction. This is just clickbait. Let me move on. No, watch this video. I'm going to explain, and I'm going to also explain the opportunity in all of this. So how is web design dead? AI has really changed the game. The biggest thing that it's done is it's just lowered the barrier of entry. And anytime that happens, when supply goes up and demand stays the same, then there's going to be a level of the value decreasing, right? And that's what's going on right now. Anyone can learn Framer, anyone can learn Webflow, anyone can learn Wix. So the value is not so much in being able to put together a website, because anyone can do that. And you're probably thinking, well, most people's websites don't look like mine. They don't look as good as mine. Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but most websites look really good. Back in the day when people used to rely on like WordPress templates, they weren't as good, right? You could just tell that they were a template. Now, most templates out there are actually really, really good. And if you just replace it with some content, you won't be able to tell that it's a template. So if your pitch right now is just, I make websites, I make professional websites, I make good looking websites, then you're competing with the person on Fiverr that can do the same website, virtually the same website, for $50. And so if you don't want to be the person that's pricing your stuff at $50, then pay attention. So where's the opportunity? How is web design not dead? What you have to do, pay close attention, you need to be building end-to-end systems for businesses that solve big problems. People are hyper aware of AI, people are hyper aware of automation, and that's where the opportunity lies. So really quick, I'm going to show you an example of what I mean by this, what this kind of looks like. And then what I'm going to do is let you know exactly what you need to do to make sure that you can win and you can take advantage of this opportunity, because this is unlocking an entire new market for us. And you may see a few people talking about it here and there, but a lot of people are really trying to gatekeep this stuff. But I'm never going to gatekeep. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. As you can see here, this is a website, and this is where most people stop at. They put together this beautiful website with all this nice imagery and all these beautiful colors. But like I said, the barrier of entry has been lowered so much. And you're going to have so many people that are starting to, and I'm sure you're seeing it already, where people are just pushing out websites that are built by AI, right? Or that are built from a template, right? So if you're competing in that space, you're going to lose. And on the surface, this just looks like a website, right? But I'm going to show you what really makes this different. And also, let me add that this is not some sort of revolutionary idea. Like, these type of things have always existed, but I can say that the vast majority of web designers, they're not doing this, right? They are the ones that are saying, we'll build you a beautiful website that fits your brand, right? So let me show you, let me stop yapping, and I'm actually going to show you what I mean by this. So people are so numb to tap this button and fill out this form, and we'll get in contact with you at some point. Well, to be frank, after working with so many different companies, I realized that, first of all, most people don't actually get back to the people that fill out their lead forms. And when they do, it's not actually quick enough. So that's one of the problems right there that you can solve, right, as a web designer. So let me show you an example of this. And let me start off by saying this is very much a work in progress. We are going to be deploying this site probably next week at some time. We're just trying to get the functionality down. So as you can see, when someone comes here, the most important section we all know is a hero, the header, whatever you want to call it, because 100% of traffic goes here. When someone comes here, they click on this button to get a free instant quote. We click this button right here, and people are going to be able to choose their repair. So iPhone, Android, MacBook, iPad, right? You can click on this, or the user will click on this, and they'll be able to come in here and choose their exact device. So let's say this person has a iPhone Pro Max. They can choose that, and then they can choose screen replacement, back glass replacement, or both. So as you can see already, one thing that's different compared to everyone else that's just slinging templates is the fact that this is a lot more interactive. This is going to have a higher conversion rate, because it's just much more engaging, right? And you're giving people something, law of reciprocity. You're giving somebody something first. So let's say this person wants a screen replacement. Okay. And of course, we still want to collect that lead info. Like, we just don't want to take people straight from button to a lead form, because they want something. They want something quick, right? And typically business goes to the first person that gets back to that person, actually. So here we're going to put in a first name. We're just going to come up with a random name. We're going to call him Bob Evans. Okay. And then we're going to say Bobby E123@gmail.com. We can punch in their phone number. And if you're thinking already, what if somebody comes in here and they just fill out a bunch of fluff? Well, you're doing that person a favor, because they always deal with the people that give them fluff, right? But those people are tire kickers. They waste time, and entrepreneurs and business owners and the people that are going to buy from you, they don't want to waste their time. They want to be efficient. They want to scale. They want to grow their company. So once they hit finish quote, you see a little loading widget here, and then they'll get hit with the quote. So this already releases a little bit of dopamine in that person. They're like, oh, okay, I know exactly how much it's going to cost. I can even come in here and I can schedule the repair. But you also have to look at it from the business owner's perspective. They didn't have to quote somebody, which that's probably the question that they get the most. Actually, it is the question they get the most, is how much is it going to cost? They can get rid of that process. And then the second part that takes a lot of time is actually scheduling the repair. So people can do it themselves. And you can see everything is leaning more towards that. And that's what the future is going to be. It's going to be more self-service. I mean, just look at the grocery stores. How long has it been that we've had self-checkout? And most people actually prefer self-checkout. Look at any store. Typically, they don't even have cashiers anymore. They just have straight self-checkout and like one or two cashiers for the old folks out there. But anyways, so that's what happens on the front end. But let's talk about some of the things that happen on the back end. So one thing that you can see is that as soon as I filled out that lead form, that lead went over to a Google Sheet. And the only reason it's going to a sheet is because this client doesn't currently have a CRM, but we will be implementing a CRM for this client. And that's another way, that's another thing that will allow you to increase your value and to not just be a generic web designer, right? People love things like this. If you can set up their CRM for them, set up all the different automations, things like that, it's going to set you apart from everyone else. But that's not the only thing that happens. So let's look at what else happens. Okay, as you can see, I received an email with that person's information. So a big problem that a lot of people have is they don't even realize somebody became a lead, right? And like I said, business is going to go to the person that can get in contact with that person first. So you need to get in contact with that person first. And notifying your client, letting them know, hey, you just got a lead, call them up. So this is going to go straight to my client. It's also going to go to them in the form of a text message so that they're on it, so that they can reach out to that person and try to convert that person. We're also potentially going to have a button down here that says call, or if you'd like to speak with us, you can call. And we're probably going to send that to an AI agent that can handle the call and actually schedule the call. All right, so let me highlight something else for you really quick, because you're probably wondering, how did this guy, how did he build that? Well, first off, which is going to lead me to a point later, the website is actually custom coded. It's very difficult to do something like that inside of something like Framer or Webflow or Wix. And that's what's going to separate you from your competitors, which, like I said, is going to be one of the points later. So as you can see, what happens is all of the code is handled on the back end. We have our very own server, and then we'll send that information over to a webhook. If you don't know what that is, it's basically like a trigger that receives some information. So you can see, you actually can't see the information that's received, but you will see it here. So here, what we do, we take that info, and then right here, we plug all that info in. You can see all of the info that was received here in the webhook, and we can send whatever we want to send. Like, the sky's the limit with what we can send. Not only that, but we handle that email inside of Gmail also. But this is the point I really want to highlight, is the fact that Make has so many tools that your clients are probably already using, tools that, like, for an example, when it comes to CRMs, a lot of people use Service Titan, right? We got Service Titan in there. A lot of people use House Call Pro. A lot of people use Jobber. A lot of people use MailChimp. And if they aren't, these are the type of things that you can set up for them. A lot of people are using Active Campaigns. A lot of people are using Facebook. A lot of people are using Instagram, right? So the sky's the limit with what you can actually build for your clients. And this is going to save them time, make them more efficient, make them more money, save on labor, make less mistakes, capitalize on more opportunities. And like I said, the sky is actually the limit. So now let me explain exactly what you should be doing to make sure that you're not replaced by template slingers, that you're not just a commodity, and that your business doesn't suffer. Because, you know, everybody is like, oh, AI is going to take over this and replace this. And to an extent, it's true. But at the same time, I'm sure you've heard the quote by now, AI is not going to replace you, but the person that does use AI is going to replace you. So here's what you need to do to be able to capitalize off of this opportunity and to stay ahead of the curve. So number one, which I might get grilled for this, and it's okay if you disagree, but this is what I believe. Number one, I think you should learn how to code. So when I say that, I don't want you to get afraid, because you don't have to go to some university. You don't have to take a boot camp. I taught myself how to code, and I got really, really good within about 2 years. Good enough in a few months, like 6 months, to be able to actually build my first software. And the reason I say you need to learn how to code and not just use AI, because I'll give you an example. I've seen this one guy who is selling everybody on how you can build software with no code, right? But people who actually know how to code started grilling him in his comments, because they were like, okay, you need to learn how these things actually work before you deploy software. Not even that, but before you start teaching other people. Because one reason for an example is this guy didn't even know what GitHub was. And if you don't know what GitHub is, it's just basically version control. So you can like roll back to previous versions just in case you deploy something with a bug or anything along those lines. Not only that, but people who just code with AI don't know what they don't know. So they don't know to hide API keys, for an example. They don't know to encrypt passwords. They don't know to set things like rate limits so that people aren't abusing your API or whatever the case is. So I think you need to learn how to code, because it's going to make using the no code platforms a lot easier. It's also going to allow you to understand what AI is spitting out, because I do think that you should use AI to make yourself more efficient as a developer. But I don't think that it's at the place now where you can just solely use it to just deploy good software, because I work with AI a lot of the times, and a lot of times it spits out total garbage. So you need that knowledge to really understand. It's like, for an example, let's say someone is a mechanic, right? And there's some way that AI becomes introduced to mechanics and it changes the game. It allows more people to be mechanics. So if I have access to that, and then an actual mechanic with experience has access to that, who do you think is going to do better? It's no question that the mechanic with AI is going to do better than the non-mechanic with AI. So one of the ways I recommend for you to learn, I started off with like Code Academy, which I think is like $20 a month. That was really good. But the best way is to actually start building things. Secondly, I've seen this one guy, Mark Liu. You've probably seen him all over the place if you're in this space. I would say you should check out his course, and I've actually linked that right down below in the description. I like his approach because he doesn't just talk about learning how to code, but it's how to learn code in the modern world. Know enough to be able to use AI to code. And I think that's a really good approach. And another side note, you don't have to get to the point where you can answer all of the lead code questions. You're not trying to get a job at a FANG. You're trying to be able to provide solutions to your clients. And you can more than do that by teaching yourself. Number two, you need to learn no code automation. So things like Zapier, things like Make. Because in the example I showed you, I use Make for the Google Sheets automation as well as the email automation. And of course you can do those things with code. It's just like, why would you do it with code when you can just use Make to do it, or use Zapier to do it? It's just going to save you so much more time. It's going to be so much more manageable, and it goes hand in hand with code. Code goes hand in hand with no code, although everyone is going to try to tell you that no code alone is enough. Number three, you need to start solving big problems for clients. So when you have, let's say, sales calls or discovery calls or whatever you call them, you don't just want to talk about the features of the website. Like, you really want to understand the pain points of the client, like deeply understand like what's causing you stress. What is keeping you up at night? What is taking all your time? What do you feel like you can completely get off of your plate? Because that's going to be the opportunity, and that's where people are going to pay you big money to solve those problems for them. Because oftentimes these people don't have the technical skill to be able to do it, but a lot of the times they also don't have the time to do it. If they did have the technical skills, they don't know how to go and hire somebody and bring them on their team and manage them to be able to implement these types of things. So this is why this is a big opportunity for you if you can learn these things. Number 4, you need to learn as much about AI as you possibly can, because that's the future. It's going to constantly change. You want to make sure that you're ahead of the curve, that you really have your ear to the streets when it comes to AI, because it's changing so fast. And you want to make sure that you can actually adapt to the change. Number 5, you want to get good at design. And I know you probably weren't expecting me to say that, but I really do believe that design fundamentals are going to take you so much further, because that's the thing that template slingers don't understand. They don't understand visual hierarchy. They don't understand tracking, kerning, font pairing, balance, color theory, things of that nature. I think if you can get a good grasp on those concepts, then that's going to take your websites to a completely higher level. Number 6, I think you should get decent at copywriting. And I'm sure you weren't expecting that. But right now, AI really sucks at creating copy. It just gives you such jargony, cookie cutter words like seamless and things of that nature. So if you can get good at copy, then that's also going to set you apart from everyone else out there, because everyone else is just using AI. They're like, oh, I have this type of business or this type of client, write all the copy for me. Well, you don't really understand like deeply what the copy should be written about. So one thing that I have that you can actually get from my Stand store is I have a client interview questionnaire, and it's an absolute game changer. So I'm going to give you some game real quick. I'm going to give you a piece of my process. So what I do when I onboard a client, we schedule a onboarding call, and on that call, I jump on Zoom with them and I actually go through this questionnaire. I ask them all of these questions that are in my client interview questionnaire, and I make sure I record the call. So some of the questions I'm asking help me to really understand the pain points of my customer's customer, because that's who we want to speak to. Things like their fears, their desires, their insecurities. So once we're off the call, I take that Zoom video and I go and I transcribe it. And once I transcribe it, I use that along with my AI prompt to give me basically the bare bones of my copy. And of course, it's not perfect, but it's much better than just going to AI and saying, hey, this is the type of company that I want you to write copy for, write copy. And so I use that as the basis to go in and edit and revise it and make it sound human-like and just make it sound really good. So if you want that, just grab it from my Stand store. The link is down in the description below. This is probably the most important. You need to keep leveling up your skills. Things are changing so fast. You want to make sure that you stay ahead of the curve. You don't want to get left behind. So always be improving. You know, I've personally really been interested in a lot of the animations I've been seeing lately, things that are built in like Rive app. I saw one guy who sold a website for $90,000 and it just had all these cool animations. So I'm like, hey, I want to sell a website for $90,000. So how about I start learning these things? So you want to constantly be evolving and upping your game. So I hope this video was valuable to you. And if you made it this far, you should definitely hit that sub button. I'm the new guy in this space. If you go on my channel, you might see me talking about the food business, because that's where I was in for a few years. But I've always been a graphic designer, always been a web designer. You know, taught myself how to code. So you're going to see a lot more content from me about these topics. So make sure to like this video, share it with somebody, and make sure to subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video.